Introduction to Global Card Dueling Monsters. Upon waking up, Lin You discovers a major change in the world. Monster cards of various ethnic groups roar and explode wildly, while magic cards of the venue form a deep sea out of thin air. Royal tombs, skyscrapers, and trap cards are set up with infinite possibilities. The rise of duel universities across the country is a miraculous secret realm full of dangers. This is a world where everyone pursues cards, an era where card duels shine. Chapter 1. The Dueling Era. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lin You, get up quickly. Wow, big brother, you really can sleep. Hurry up, if you wait any longer, you'll be chosen by others. In a daze of consciousness, Lin You heard a voice calling out his name. What the hell? Today is not Sunday. Is it Dad willing to sneak back? Lin You slowly opened his eyes and pressed his slightly dizzy head. Gradually, his vision widened and became clear, revealing a familiar, glasses-wearing, slightly silly face. Son of a cow. Lu Jun. What is the situation? Lin Yu's drowsiness dissipated for the most part. Just as he was about to say something, he noticed the surrounding environment and couldn't help but be surprised. Now he stands out in a classroom of Class 6, Grade 3 of high school. The classroom is empty except for them, and the outdoor hallway is filled with the noise of just finished school, with each student walking in a hurry. Thank goodness, you finally woke up, hurry up. Seeing Lin Yozhuan wake up, Lu Jun breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. What are you doing? At this moment, Lin Yu was still confused and even suspected that he was in a dream. He had been staying up too late on Saturday night and had risen early the next day to fight against landlords, so he took advantage of the afternoon to catch up on his sleep. As a result, when I opened my eyes again, it turned into the current situation. Wow, Lin Yu, you're so confused. Can you forget such an important day? We're about to graduate, and a batch of cards that will soon be sold will be prioritized for renewal in various schools, with a 20% discount, only for our group of students. Lu Jun saw Lin Yu with a half-asleep appearance, a worried expression on his face, and occasionally nervously glanced at the gradually empty corridor. Card. Lin Yu frowned, but Lu Jun beside him couldn't help but exert all his strength and planned to pick him up. Son of the ox, don't pull, walk. Lin Yu didn't think about all this chaos for the time being. He stood up and followed Lu Jun out of the classroom. Stepping out of the teaching building, Lu Jun and Lin Yu arrived at a building near the playground. This building consists of a sports building and a campus cafeteria. The cafeteria on the first floor is equipped with a snack bar, while the indoor badminton court, indoor basketball court, and a few table tennis tables are located on the second and third floors, respectively. But this is only in Lin Yu's perception. The reality is that before entering the building, you can see a long queue of about hundreds of students divided into 3 rows. Lin Yu's focus is not only on this abnormal queue, but more importantly, the surface of the building, which was originally supposed to be a sports building, turned into a huge LED projection screen. On the screen was a somewhat abnormal, middle-aged but still exceptionally handsome man. Beside the middle-aged man, there was a heart-wrenching blue and white giant dragon figure. Elegance, beauty, majesty, strength, and coldness are the first feelings it brings to people. Blue-eyed white dragon. Lin Yu couldn't help but blurt out that Game King is a classic he has revisited many times, and he is certainly not unfamiliar with one of the representative cards, Blue Eyes and White Dragons. But the problem is, this is a school, what kind of tricks are there? Zai Shen is too top-notch, and his signature card, Blue Eyes and White Dragons, has a feeling of irresistible worship no matter how many times he looks at it. He is truly the duel king of our country, Lu Jun said with a look of admiration. Dueling King. Game King card. A series of inexplicable things gathered together, and Lin Yu had already sorted out his rough thoughts in his mind. He quickly took out his phone, which was the classic patriotic brand phone, and started scrolling through the news of the Goose Factory. Great news! In response to national policies, major high schools including Dual Science have introduced new admission cards with a 20% discount, and the enrollment rate may reach a new high. Great excitement! A 2-star dueler in Beijing illegally abuses cards and causes trouble on the streets. Passing honor duelers quickly take action to suppress them. The low-risk secret realm is turbulent, and multiple locations such as tables, chairs, and cables at a school in Pingjiang City have been bitten and completely damaged. The culprit has been confirmed as the White Star Monster Death Hamster. Taking advantage of the queue, Lin You flipped through several news articles and relied on Dueling to check, confirming one thing: he caught up with the trend. Crossing. People remain unchanged, interpersonal relationships and family backgrounds remain unchanged, but the world has undergone earth-shattering changes. In this world, there exists a type of duel card similar to the game King card, which is roughly divided into 3 types: Monster card, Magic card, and Trap card. The White Star Monster mentioned in the news can be understood as a low-star monster card. As for the Secret Realm, it is the fundamental opening of this era of duels. About 100 years ago, a group of abnormal humans who could feel the magic of heaven and earth appeared around the world. These humans discovered the existence of the Secret Realm and were involved in it. In this magical independent space, there are ubiquitous creatures now known as duel monsters. They have a wide variety of races, diverse appearances, and diverse abilities, and the superhumans, caught up in them should not be able to resist. But in times of crisis, these human beings awaken to an existence called the Origin card. With the help of the Origin card, they turned danger into safety and successfully found a way out of the Secret Realm. Lin You, who has years of experience in reading online literature, quickly calmed down and accepted this reality. Speaking of which, Lin You suddenly thought of something and turned his head to look at Lu Jun behind him, saying, "Lu Jun, where is your kid's duel tray? Why don't you take it out and take a look?" Duel plate. Lu Jun was stunned for a moment, then looked at Lin You Dao with a strange gaze and said, "Lin You, you really haven't woken up, have you? How could I possibly have such a thing? At this stage, having good duel gloves is a kind of happiness." Dueling gloves. Lin Yu's gaze flickered, and he immediately saw the pitch-black gloves on his hand. The surface of these gloves was outlined with obscure and strange patterns, seemingly hiding some kind of mystery. Quietly opening Dueling, the definition of this glove became clear in Lin Yu's mind. This pair of gloves is exactly what Lu Jun calls a duel glove, used to store the existence of cards, with a storage limit of 10 cards. Just this pair of gloves, with a value of up to 100,000 Chinese dollars, is a must-have item for duelers. Yu reading www.yuyukiangshu.net. As for the more advanced duel board, Lin You also has a related explanation in his mind. This type of duel board has no market at all, but it is also easy to obtain, which is to successfully enter any duel player university. Lin You is currently in his 3rd year of high school, and graduation is not far away. The graduation requirements are to develop any duel-level monster card and achieve 100 points or more of his own magic. Lin You slowly lifted his palm, and a faint blue halo appeared. In the halo, light blue dots crisscrossed and danced like fireflies, which was magic. In today's card world, magic is the key to activating a card. If magic is insufficient, even if you master a powerful card, you will not have the conditions to activate that card. Only when he meets the graduation requirements, Lin You is eligible to apply to the dueling university. Lin You is not sure about his current magical strength, but it seems nothing special. As for the definition of a duel-level monster, he is currently unaware. Taking advantage of the queue time, Lin You vaguely asked Lu Jun for useful information. Firstly, Lin Yu's current magic strength is 115 points, which is at the forefront level in the entire Class 6. In addition, the so-called duel-level monsters are actually monster cards that have become more powerful after being specially trained by duelers. Usually, the characteristics possessed by duel-level monsters are reduced mana consumption and the awakening of unique combat skills or techniques, as well as the use of elements and the development of racial talents. The more advanced and powerful the basic attributes of monster cards, the more difficult it is to grow to the duel level. Spending some time digesting this information, Lu Jun's excited voice rang out for an unknown amount of time. Here we are, Lin You. We don't know what good cards we can get this time. Chapter 2. Chestnut Ball. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Taking a step forward along the line, Lin You was left with only the last person in front. For the sake of order, the campus card store did not allow students to enter the store to select cards. Instead, a touch table was set up at the card sales area, allowing customers to select their desired cards through this table. Lin You looked over curiously, wanting to see which cards would be for sale, but the student was very straightforward, as if he had already set a target. After selecting the target card, he paid and left. The price of cards is more expensive than Lin You imagined. A card costs the student 3,000 yuan, but it's not particularly strange. After all, it belongs to the world of cards, and those cards can truly be realized. This idea only lasted for a moment, and when it was Lin Yu's turn to pick cards, he had an urge to curse out loud. Lin Yu, full of anticipation, planned to carefully select, but what he saw was such a scene: skeleton soldier star rating. White race. Undead race attribute. Dark attack power. 700, defense power. 500 introduction. Stubborn skeleton soldiers with amazing fighting spirit bring infinite fear to people. A drunk beer man star rating. White race. Warrior race attribute. Ground attack power. 650, defense power. 600 introduction. Hey, if you pay, I'll come. It's best to have some meat, eggs, scallions, and chicken. Insect man star rating. White race. Insect race attribute. Ground attack power. 500, defense power. 700 introduction. Insects living in groups, the entire forest is their playground. What kind of stinky fish and rotten shrimp are these? Lin You really wants to question and speak up. Is it okay for the school to use these cards to cheat money? Can it be worth thousands or even thousands? Or after folding? But he held back, because reason told him that even if the school planned to trick the students like monkeys, it could not deceive so many people. From the attitude exhibited by these students, they are all genuinely happy and excited about the card they purchased. Perhaps in Lin Yu's eyes, these cards are whiteboard mortal bone cards with no special effects, and are the ultimate junior brothers. However, for them in this world who have not yet set foot in the realm of duels, these are extremely precious powerful cards. In fact, although Lin Yu can think of countless super powerful cards in his mind, now he is just an ordinary member of this card world. With this in mind, Lin Yu already had the idea of suing the Traverse Association. What the hell is going on, Golden Finger? What about the agreed standard configuration for the walkthrough? Spitting Lees belongs to Spitting Lees, and the card still needs to be seen, which is related to Lin Yu's future development path as a dueler. Glancing quickly across the desktop, Lin Yu noticed that over 80% of the cards sold were monster cards without any special effects, and the most powerful one was only an aquarium monster card with an attack power of 1400 and a defense power of 1500, called the Bow-Pulling Mermaid. What's even more outrageous is that the price of this card is as high as 20,000 Chinese dollars. Even though Lin Yu's family background is not bad, and now it is a card world, he only carries more than 10,000 yuan in total. As for a few monster cards with special effects, their prices are even higher. There's one more thing. In the cards sold this time, almost no magical or trap cards can be seen. As Tong Lin Yu learned through Dunyang, magical and trap cards are relatively rare in this world. And the remaining few magic cards and trap cards have very poor effects. For example, a magic card called Source of Anger has the effect of increasing the attack power of a monster with a burning attribute on its own field by 100 points, and its price is 5,000 yuan. Seeing this effect, Lin You was stunned. Not only did he increase his attack power by 100 points, but he also specified monster attributes. Even with this, he could sell for 5,000. The money is really easy to make. Well, Lin You, which card do you like? These cards are very awesome and cost-effective. They are really new cards. Lu Jun's eyes lit up as he eagerly urged. Almost done. Lin You casually said, intending to pick a powerful monster card within the economic allowed range, when a slightly light and soft voice suddenly came to his ear. Coolly Lin Yu's fingers were about to touch the tabletop, but he froze in vain, as if being pulled by some kind of traction. He patiently flipped the card buying interface to the end, and remained the same halfway, without discovering any special cards. But in the end, Lin Yu's gaze was fixed on a card, which was a magic card. Proliferation, type. Quick attack magic card effect. Liberate one's own chestnut ball on the field to activate. Summon the chestnut ball, derivative, demon race, dark attribute, attack power /300, defense power /200, as special as possible on your own field. This derivative cannot be used as a sacrifice for higher level summoning. Chestnut balls. At the moment of seeing this card, Lin Yu's eyes widened in vain. He seemed to have caught something, and his gaze suddenly shifted towards his shoulder. Standing there stood a small monster, covered in soft brown hair, with a pair of sparkling big eyes with a hint of transparency. Its small body, not much larger than a basketball, grew small and short claws and feet. This little guy is exactly the chestnut ball described in Proliferation. The faint call I heard just now was indeed not an illusion, but rather a sound made by this little guy, which guided Lin You to find Proliferation. But what's going on? How could I own a chestnut ball, and even if I did, I didn't summon it at all? How could I run out at this moment? Lin You was horrified in his heart. Coolly, Chestnut Ball, standing on Lin Yu's shoulder, gently waved his short paw as if greeting him, but in the next moment, his body turned into a white light and integrated into Lin Yu's body. Is it because my own accusation has taken effect? Lin Yu thought in a daze, but then became excited. Ignoring Lu Jun's forced expression, his gaze returned to the table and without hesitation, he chose to proliferate. Due to its uniqueness, this card can be redeemed for only 2,000 Chinese coins after being folded. Even so, not a single person is interested in it. I'll take this one. Yu reading www.yuukiangshu.net. Thank you. Lin Yu and the little sister in charge of receiving and collecting cards said something, and soon achieved their wish. They received a carefully packaged iron box, which contained the proliferation of fast attack magic cards. You go up. After obtaining his desired card, Lin Yu gestured to Lu Jun, and even though he couldn't wait for it, he didn't pay attention to what cards Lin Yu had bought. He hurriedly picked up the cards. On the way out of school, Lu Jun and Lin Yu were walking on the same road as they were both day students. On the way, Lu Jun couldn't conceal his excitement and clenched his fist, saying, "It's so great. Today, I've gathered another monster card from the Beast Warrior clan. In time, I must be a legendary Beast Warrior clan card deck dueler. Fantasy, hard fantasy." Lin Yu gave a concise evaluation of this brother's fantasies. Just thinking about it, anyway, occasionally boasting about the benefits of bull beat for physical and mental health. Lin Yu, what card did you buy today? Lu Jun remembered to ask about this matter, and as he spoke, he guessed on his own, it must still be a monster card from the transportation series, right? A motorcycle or an airplane? Guess slowly, the master has arrived. Lin Yu patted Lu Jun's shoulder, and before he could ask further questions, he walked into a large residential area. Lu Jun was helpless and just shouted from behind, "Lin You, don't forget about going to the Jiangcheng duel hall tomorrow. I finally made an appointment." Lin You raised his hand to show understanding, but his mind began to ponder. Jiangcheng Dueling Hall. To hear this, it seems to be providing a formal arena for duels. It seems quite interesting. No, we need to supplement our knowledge about this world. Halfway through, Lin You clenched his fists and decided to work hard tonight. Chapter 3. Jiangcheng Universities. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Taking the elevator to the 19th floor and entering the house, Lin You skillfully blackened, changed shoes, turned on the lights, and the spacious living room was immediately lit up. My home is still the same, empty and empty. Lin Yu's parents have already divorced, and he was raised by his father alone. That's right, my father is a busy businessman who travels around the world all year round. He also has a relatively relaxed discipline towards Lin You. Throughout the year, aside from the Chinese New Year, he rarely comes home to live. The connection between Lin You and his father is mostly based on chat software. As for living expenses, it is easy to solve them by relying on mobile phone transfers. At present, Lin Yu's monthly living expenses are 5,000 yuan, which is not too much, but he is still able to handle the day with ease. After all, Lin Yu doesn't play many games, and aside from the cost of console games, he basically doesn't spend any money. Lin Yu also plays online games, but only plays LOL and rarely charges for skins. He only buys a few skins for heroes who are easy to play, which is not expensive and often only costs a few tens to 100. According to his past lifestyle, it's almost time to prepare for registration, but now, unlike before, Lin Yu's mind is full of various cards. Entering the computer room in the bedroom, after turning on the computer, Lin Yu quickly went to Dueling to search for some information. The first thing to search for is related to the dueler. According to the explanation given by Dueling, in this world, a dueler is a profession that symbolizes honor and strength, and is respected by people. No one would not have the luxury of becoming a dueler one day. Especially powerful duelers, with extremely high social status, their income is even more astonishing. Even for students who graduate from ordinary duel universities, as long as they are willing to work hard, an annual salary of 1 million is not a problem. While earning a considerable income, duelers can also enjoy various policy benefits provided by the state. For example, the right to purchase housing in the doubler community. These houses will be quite affordable and will not charge any water, electricity, or property fees. For example, the free use rights of the vast majority of public facilities in countries around the world. It sounds fascinating, but the cruel reality is that an ordinary dueler university recruits around 2,000 students each year, and the number of students who may stand out as duelers is at most 50. A graduation rate of less than 1 in 40. On the contrary, it is those prestigious schools, such as the most famous Jiangcheng Dueling University, that only recruit 500 students per year, but of these 500 students, nearly half of them can eventually become duelers. The gap can be described as huge. This has led to countless people pushing their heads to become top universities and winning a strong guarantee for their future. Jiangcheng University. Lin Yu's mind has also become lively, and if conditions permit, he also wants to apply to Jiangcheng University. However, according to online search results, the application requirements for Jiangcheng University are a magic level of 130 points and 3 duel-level monster cards, which are just the application requirements. At any duel school, students cannot avoid practical assessment when applying. Lin You pondered the application requirements for Jiangcheng University. The 130-point magic is relatively good, although it is also very difficult. At least he has the opportunity to compete. As for the latter condition, he has no idea at all. In this situation, what Lin You can do is only to maximize his own strength. Now he is in the countdown to graduation, with only the last few days left. However, for a dual science student like him, the college entrance examination is no longer just a cultural college entrance examination, but a matter of whether he can be admitted to a prestigious school, a true duel. Seeing this, Lin You suddenly remembered something. He lifted his palm and a dark blue magic emerged. The dots of light intertwined, and the pitch-black dual gloves seemed to be activated. The obscure patterns on the surface flickered slightly, outlining a complete trajectory along the way. A few cards emerged, which looked almost identical to the game's king cards that Lin You knew, but the number was truly unbearable. And soon, it was the turn of the quality to be unbearable. Wild motorcycle star rating. White attribute. Ground race. Mechanical clan attack power. 450, defense power. 350 introduction. With full horsepower, feel the wild roar. Woohoo Autobot star rating. White attribute. Ground race. Mechanical clan attack power. 500, defense power. 400 introduction. Woohoo let's take off. Giant truck, star rating. White attribute. Ground race. Mechanical clan attack power. 1000, defense power. 500 introduction. This is an art of madness and collision, an understanding of violence and destruction. Mechanical gears card type. Magic card effect. Increases the attack power of one mechanical monster on your field by 200 points. These are all the Lin You card decks, the so-called transportation card decks in Lu Jun's mouth. He has seen them and even pulled the brakes more than he imagined. But at this moment, Lin Yu's attention quickly shifted and focused on a card after the magic card, proliferation, that he had just purchased at school. The name of the card stands out as, Chestnut balls. Coolly, just as Lin You was staring at the card, the chestnut ball on the card blinked lightly, making a light and agile sound that seemed to mean, please take care of me. What exactly is this chestnut ball? Lin You is certain that chestnut ball is not the card he originally had. If it were like this, it would indeed mean. Then it's up to you, my career as a dueler. Picking up this chestnut ball, Lin You, who was in a good mood, lightly kissed the chestnut ball pattern on the card. After collecting all the cards into the dual gloves, Lin Yu's gaze returned to the computer screen. He planned to search for several movies to watch. Movies are not ordinary movies, but movies related to duels. In this world, various movie themes related to duelers and duel monsters can be said to be endless. Theme movies are a great choice for deepening one's understanding of the world. Get it, get it, get it, get it. The next day, at 8 o'clock in the morning, the magical phone alarm from the classic background music clip of Happy Landlord rang on time. Lin You frowned and pressed the bell, sat up drowsily, lost for most of the time, and then played himself a wild electronic music before barely waking up. There's nothing I can do. I watched the movie too late last night, and then combined with Dueling to search for a lot of things. Now, Lin You has finally increased his awareness of this world a lot. At least, I won't stumble on some common sense issues again. Today is the weekend and there is no need for classes, but due to an appointment with Nyo's son to go to the duel hall, I have to wake up early at the moment. Originally, Lin You had only a partial understanding of the so-called duel hall, so he didn't pay much attention to it. But now, Lin You already knows that the duel hall is a place specifically open for formal and informal duels to practice, but it requires reservations, which can be quite troublesome. More importantly, to cultivate duel-level monsters, dueling is essential. Only through continuous combat can duel monsters become stronger and develop their own exclusive skills. There, Lin You will have initial exposure to card duels that belong to this world. Chapter 4. Dueling Hall. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Breakfast shops on the street. Lin You held a bowl of Jiangcheng special hot dry noodles in his hand. After stirring the sesame paste, he ate it with a big mouth. It only took about a minute for Lin You to finish eating hot dry noodles and drink yogurt. After checking out, he stood in the street and waited for a taxi. The occasional wind blowing in the street at more than 8 o'clock seemed cool and very comfortable. After waiting for 2 minutes, Lin You waited for an empty car. "Master, please drive to the Jiangcheng duel hall." After getting on the bus, Lin You explained the destination to the driver. Last night, Lin You had already checked the map of Dueling in advance, and it was about half an hour's drive from Jiangming Community to Jiangcheng Dueling Hall, which was slightly far. Lin You and Lu Jun agreed to meet at 9 o'clock, which is actually the opening time of the Jiangcheng Duel Hall. As it was Sunday and the road was relatively smooth, at 8:45, the taxi stopped at the main entrance of the Jiangcheng Dueling Hall. There is a black-gray marble doorplate in front of the main entrance, which is engraved with the 5 characters, Jiangcheng Dueling Hall, in light gold font. On both sides are tightly closed electronic fences, which are not yet open. After paying the bill and thanking Lin You, he got off the car and looked inside the duel hall. Looking inside from the main entrance, the first thing that catches the eye is an open square. In the center of the square is a man-made fountain, surrounded by a large number of green plants. At the innermost part of the square is a huge building, with a model of a duel tray hanging at the top and 2 models of duel monsters on both sides. Lin You happens to know both of these dueling monsters, namely Time Magician and True Red-Eyed Black Dragon. The model sizes are not proportional, and the confrontation scenes are somewhat inexplicably funny. "Lin You, are you so early today? I am mentally prepared for your lateness." Lin You was still admiring the models of 2 monsters when someone suddenly patted his shoulder, followed by Lu Jun's voice. "Do I still need to doubt my quality?" "You shouldn't be." Lin You criticized and then said, "Wait a moment, I will compete with your imperial city. No fighting, playing with you is a form of abuse. Your mechanical gear is too disgusting, with a low limit and can increase attack power by 200 points. Moreover, my magic cannot withstand it. It's still interesting to bully my little friend." Lu Jun decisively admitted his cowardice. "Is that all?" Lin You was a bit surprised, not because Lu Jun was cowardly, but because in the other person's eyes, mechanical gears were also considered disgusting. He now believes it is necessary to reshape his understanding of cards and not casually belittle the cards he can currently access just because he has the impression of countless powerful cards in his mind. Essentially, his most powerful single attribute now is nothing more than that huge truck card, which is not particularly impressive in terms of name or image. Furthermore, magic is also a matter that needs to be considered. Lin Yu's current magic level seems to be good in class 6, but how could he possibly meet this level? He has been researching how to improve his own magic for a long time. The result of the query is that the most direct way to improve this thing immediately is to spend money. Spending money can only meet the needs of early promotion. To become a truly strong dueler, one needs to personally go to the Duelers College to find the answer. As time approached 9 o'clock, more and more people gathered around. Obviously, there were many people rushing to Jiangcheng Duel Hall today. Having free time on weekends is secondary, and the most important thing is that the Duel Hall is only available for free on Sundays. Unless you are a formal dueler, an additional fee of 500 yuan is required to enter the hall on non-free days. However, not all those who come here have the idea of participating in the duel. More people simply come to join the fun and want to see the duel up close. Of course, what can be seen is only their informal duelers, and the duels between real duelers are set up separately in another dueler building where no one is allowed to enter. Dueling fighters, observers, the Jiangcheng Dueling Hall is about to open. Please maintain order and enter the hall in the order of dueling first, then observer. Thank you for your cooperation. A repeated sound was heard through a loudspeaker in the guard room, and at exactly 9 o'clock, the electronic fences on both sides of the gate were neatly closed. It's done, let's go. Lin You happily snapped his fingers and led the way in the front position. Groups of people quickly rushed into the venue, but fortunately, the square after entering was spacious enough to walk without much impact. Walking deep down the square, after a while, Lin You and Lu Jun followed the crowd into the duel hall. The space inside the hall was huge, even above the football field. This huge space is divided into 20 duel areas, each of which is close to 500 square meters, not too large, but sufficient for the current stage of card duels. When entering the venue, Lin You and Lu Jun each received a number from the staff, and the initial entry order was determined by the number. The first to enter will be the duelists 1.20, and those with ideas can engage in a duel with these 20 people. Of course, even if you get the top 20 spots, whether or not to play depends entirely on your mood. If you don't enter after 5 minutes, others can take over that position. Lin You did not receive the top 20 numbers, but it was just what he wanted. He also wanted to see what the current world of card duels looks like. Even though you may have gained some understanding through some themed movies, to truly understand something, you still need to experience it firsthand. This is a good location, Lin You. We have it. The audience seats of the entire duel hall are arranged in a circular pattern that rises row by row. Lu Jun is quite skilled in grabbing empty seats in the front row of the audience. From here, you can watch the battle up close and easily enter. Not bad, look at the level of these people. It won't be interesting to be beaten later. Lin You nodded in satisfaction and sat down calmly. In no time, the originally empty duel venue became lively, with more than 30 duelers entering one after another, including some classmates and couples. Most of the duelers had already found their paired duels. There were only a few remaining duelers waiting for the challenge, and soon someone responded. 20 duels had no connection with each other, and Lin You was not picky either. He chose a couple who engaged in a duel nearby to watch the battle. Duel. Duel. The couple standing at both ends of the field, smiling at each other, simultaneously lifted their duel gloves and shouted the word duel. As these two words fell, the obscure patterns on the surface of their duel gloves were instantly activated. Not only that, the entire venue faintly heard the sound of a sizzling magnetic field connection, and then, it was seen that a transparent film of light seemed to cover the couple's bodies. This light film is the soul barrier, with a strength of 2,000 points. The outcome of the duel is determined, and the soul barrier of either side is reset to 0, completely shattering. This is considered a loss in the card duel. Before the soul barrier is broken, the dueler does not need to worry about being attacked by cards, causing damage or even death. This duel arena also provides a special hidden barrier. When the soul barrier of the dueler is broken, it will automatically generate a barrier that absorbs subsequent damage to avoid accidents. But Lin You, who has watched the theme movie, knows that if it is in a secret realm, the soul barrier is the absolute lifeline of the dueler. Once broken, it basically declares death. Chapter 5. Christmas Koala. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the moment of the duel, what the couple did at the first moment was exactly the same, which was to drive the magic inside their bodies and activate the cards. Under the surge of dark blue magic, the royal card gloves in their hands burst into a milky white light. Then, in front of them, each flipped a card. Hoo hoo. Flames rose and a scorching aura filled the air. In front of the boy was a young man with a fierce face, wearing a purple vest and blue shorts, clenching his fists. The scorching flames surrounding him suddenly spread. Flame Manipulator, Magician Clan, Flame Attribute. Attack power /900, defense power /1000. From the bright smile on the boy's face, it can be seen that this is his ace card. Faced with his girlfriend, he chose to strike hard. And what appeared in front of the girl was a graceful dance, with a skirt fluttering like an elf, and a beautiful girl monster card with light yellow long hair. Dance Elves Angel Tribe, Wind Attribute. Attack power /300, defense power /200. This attribute is poor. How about fuzzing? Lu Jun noticed that Lin You was concerned about the duel venue, and couldn't help roast. Both the dueler and the observer can basically know the combat value possessed by the monster card during the duel. Of course, This is the effect presented through the duel arena. If you want to know the numerical value of dangerous monsters in a secret realm, you need to experience it firsthand through actual combat. In fact, as Lu Jianxu roast, the fight between the two lovers is not in suspense, but the boy is obviously not really sick and intends to beat his girlfriend, but rather to help his girlfriend's cards improve their combat effectiveness through duels. In the field, the flame controller only adopts passive defense according to the boy's instructions, while the dance elf jumps up a beautiful dance, which is not a show, but her combat style. In the progress of the dance, a blue breeze blows, and the dense energy is like a burst of blue light particles, which rush towards the flame controller. Seemingly powerful, in reality, these light particles are only filled with minimal fluctuations of wind elements inside. The flame operator lightly swung his fist, and the arc-shaped flame spread, shattering all the light particles in an instant. The dance elves are not discouraged, constantly showcasing their graceful dance moves and exercising the energy of wind elements in this process. The battle evolved into simple companionship, but Lin You still enjoyed watching it with relish. It was a real card duel, with materialized monster cards that were not just shadows. After looking for a while, Lin Yu's eyes were hot and there was a feeling of eagerness to try. Based on his own cards and the content of the battle he just watched, Lin You happily concluded that his cards were not as powerful as he had imagined. They were like a huge truck with an attack power of up to 1,000 points. In this informal duel stage, they were relatively good. Lin You, the duel over there is over, why don't you go up first? Lu Jun pointed to a duel area where the soul barrier of a dueler had broken, indicating his defeat. Interestingly, the winner had no intention of retreating. This also means that the winner just now is still in a state of ease and magic. Okay, then play with him. Lin Yu's interest had already been stimulated. Before anyone appeared on stage, he quickly left the audience, walked into the duel area, and entered the waiting area. Hi. Lin You waved, as if greeting the dueler on the other side. Hello brother, did you see my duel just now? The boy standing across from him also looked like a student, looking at Lin You with great interest and asking. I didn't pay much attention, but you should be very strong, right? Lin You is telling the truth. He, generally average. Come on, brother, let me see your duel strength. The student dueler was probably very impressed by Lin Yu's praise, wiped his nose with his index finger, and then put on a prepared state. Duel. Duel. When the other party shouted the word duel, Lin You also learned something from it. In fact, the development of a duel does not necessarily require shouting these two words, it is only for the sake of creating an atmosphere. The duel began in an instant, and Lin You could clearly feel that his body seemed to be covered with an invisible layer of thin ice, with a cool and comfortable texture, which was the composition of the soul barrier. Lin You, who was in high spirits, immediately drove his magic, which swam through his body and supported the manifestation of his cards. Stubborn. The intense buzzing of the engine sounded, and in the flickering white light, a huge and manic silver-white truck appeared on the duel field. This truck was exactly Lin Yu's signature monster, a huge truck. Mechanical family, geographical attributes. Attack power /1000, defense power /500. Lin You still attaches great importance to this duel, which is his debut duel in this world. Very impressive, brother. The student dueler had a smile on his face, clearly not intimidated by the aura displayed by the huge truck. Driven by magic, the card flipped and revealed itself. A koala wearing Christmas clothes, with a large figure and tightly holding a pillow in her arms, let out a sharp cry of "ee." Christmas koala beast race, light attribute. Attack power /1300, defense power /800. The relevant data of this monster indeed appeared before Lin Yu's eyes. Such data was nothing in his past cognition, but in today's world, especially at the current stage, it appears too powerful. Brother, don't be scared. My koala is very gentle, really. The student dueler chuckled. Lin You did not respond, but instead used magic to activate another card. The light of the magic card bloomed with a crisp click, and the dark gears rotated and embedded inside the huge truck. This is a mechanical gear that can increase the attack power of the mechanical monster by 200 points. At the moment of activating this card, Lin You could feel that a significant amount of magic had been lost in his body, with a specific estimate of up to 30 points. As I learned in the theme movie before, the amount of magic required to activate magic cards and trap cards often exceeds that of monster cards, even mechanical gear level magic cards. Not bad, magic card, but I can't defeat my koala yet. As the words of the student dueler fell, the Christmas koala had already begun to run on the field, with its pillow still tightly clenched in its embrace. Sudden protrusions. The buzzing sound echoed through, and the huge truck drove towards the side of the field at high speed, facing each other head-on. It was not a match for the huge koala, and the best strategy was to dodge at speed. It should be noted that every monster summoned by the dueler will form a soul connection with the dueler itself. As long as the monster is not destroyed, the dueler's soul barrier will not be damaged at all. The effective range for soul connection between dueling monsters and apprentice duelers is within a radius of 10 meters, which can cover most of the duel arena. Of course, this is only in the conventional sense, like some monster cards with a direct attack nature, which can ignore this rule and directly cause damage to enemy duelers. Lin You is very clear about these things, and he also knows that there is a significant difference between the duel monsters in the world today and the duels he understands. For example, nowadays, even if a giant truck cannot compete with a Santa koala, it can still rely on its speed advantage to detour. Although the range of the duel field and soul connection is limited, the Santa koala cannot force the giant truck to the Jedi in a short period of time. That is to say, the data presented by attack power and defense power is only the most intuitive aspect, but not everything at all. Brother, the strategy is good, but it won't help either. The student dueler is not in a hurry, his original intention is to train this Christmas koala and strive to make it a duel-level monster. And in fact, as he said, the Christmas koala suddenly threw out the pillow in its hand, clearly just a pillow, but with its power boost, it fiercely attacked the huge truck moving at high speed like a boomerang. The extremely tricky angle forced the huge truck to stop and dodge the attack of the pillow, but by this time, the Christmas koala had also intercepted and blocked the huge truck's retreat. This eye-catching and visually impactful scene has also attracted the attention of many viewers. Among the multiple duels held simultaneously in the duel hall, although the duel here may not be the most exciting, it is still eye-catching. Coolly, a familiar voice suddenly rang in Lin Yu's ear as he stared closely at the battle situation in the duel arena. This voice was Lin You. Instinctively looked at his shoulder, where Chestnut Ball appeared at some point. After noticing his gaze, he nodded at him. Do you also want to participate in the battle? Coolly. Okay, then give it a try. Anyway, it's also the first duel. Losing it would be really frustrating. Lin You remembered from the theme movie about the duel rules in this world. The enemy's Christmas koala indeed has a high attack power, but only a difference of 100 points in attack power. The way to fill the gap is not only to further improve the attack power of the monster itself. Chestnut Ball, it's your turn to perform. Lin You drives magic, unless there is a certain level of dueler, in order to summon another monster, it must go through a 30-second interval, and by this time, a huge truck has been created. Do you still have a backup? No matter what, I shouldn't be able to surpass my Christmas koala. Brother, come on. The student dueler looks as steady as an old dog. He is not without other monster cards, but he cannot be compared to this Christmas koala. Moreover, his biggest goal is to train this monster, and he hopes that Lin You can come up with stronger cards. Unfortunately, the probability is almost zero. No matter how you look at it, the huge truck is Lin Yu's biggest ace. Under the gaze of him and many spectators, the summoned white light shone and disappeared, and the small figure of Chestnut Ball suddenly appeared. Chapter 6. Card Wheel. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Coolly. At the moment when Chestnut Ball appeared, his eyes became extremely sharp, staring at the appearance of Christmas Koala with a kind of fierce and cute feeling. Wow, look over there, what a cute monster. Really, I really want to touch and see its fur, it looks very soft. Little cutie, come on. Shit, a monster with an attack power of 300 and a defense power of 200 is at its limit when it hits soy sauce. What achievements can we expect it to make? That's right, you girls' thinking is really simple. This is a duel, not a cute competition. If you are in charge, we are willing to cheer up the little cute, aren't we, sisters? That's right. The appearance of Chestnut Ball caused a small climax in the audience and also attracted many female fans, but even so, no one would think that it could play a significant role in this duel. Brother, your monster is quite cute, but it can't be eaten as a meal. It's almost time to end it. The student dueler smiled, and at this moment, the Christmas Koala was completely approaching the huge truck that could not be retreated, and he was already in control of the victory. Lin You no longer waited, and a dark blue magic emerged. Driven by the magic, another magic card flipped over. Upon realizing this, the student dueler's face slightly changed. Obviously, he believed that this would be another amplification-type magic card, and if so, the huge truck could potentially surpass the attack power of the Christmas Koala. Thinking of this, he didn't care about preserving his strength and drained the remaining magic in his body, activating a magic card. The thick green bamboo appeared with a light green light. The bamboo appeared in front of the Christmas Koala. The koala broke the bamboo into 2 pieces and swallowed it. You can see a slight flicker in the abdomen of the Christmas Koala, followed by a sudden increase in its breath. Magic card, a gift of bamboo, can provide a monster with a 100-point increase in attack power. If the monster is a beast, its value will increase to 300 points. This is the signature magic card of this student dueler, combined with the inherent attributes of the Christmas Koala, its attack power skyrocketed to an astonishing 1600 points, crushing the huge truck with 400 points of attack power. This way, there's absolutely no risk. The smile on the face of the student dueler has become bright again. Although it is a pity that after this duel, regardless of whether he wins or loses, he will have no magic to continue the duel. However, it has attracted so much attention and the training is also good, which is worth it. At the same time as this gifted bamboo was activated, the magic of proliferation also fell on the small body of Chestnut Ball. A mischievous and eerie laughter faintly rang out, and the Chestnut Ball was shrouded in a burst of white light, which was so dazzling that Lin You and the student dueler temporarily lost sight. Wow, what's going on here? Are you joking? How could that be possible? How did this happen? Can anyone explain? Quickly take your phone and record it, this is amazing. It's the first time I've seen this scene at the duel hall. A series of exclamations and loud noises spread from the audience like a tsunami, and the student duelers showed doubts on their faces, but soon a proud smile appeared on their lips, indicating that these people were intimidated by his Christmas Koala. The next moment this idea appeared, the sparkling white light completely disappeared, presenting the scene before his eyes, causing his entire expression to freeze on the spot and his chin to fall to the ground. What the hell is this? A stunning scene unfolded throughout the room. At this moment, the chestnut balls on the field seemed to have used multiple shadow clones, with a total of 20 chestnut balls scattered throughout the field, and the cries of the coolies echoed in unison. Not to mention the dueler between the audience and the student, even Lin You himself was a bit stunned. You should know that the effect of proliferation is to summon as many chestnut ball derivatives as possible on the field, but in duel rules, there can only be a maximum of 5 monsters on the field. In this world, there is a limitation called soul connection, under which most duelers can only connect up to 5 monsters at the same time. For dueling newcomers like them, their soul power is weak, and 3 are the limit. Based on this rule, proliferation should only summon 3 chestnut ball derivatives. Lin You couldn't understand for a moment, but it didn't stop him from gaining confidence. In this world, the value of dueling monsters is not so absolute. Such a number of chestnuts are enough to cause a qualitative change in combat power. The fact is that in the moment of seeing a whole 20 chestnut balls, the student dueler almost didn't panic and soon had the idea of surrendering, but it was already too late. 20 chestnut balls have surrounded the Christmas koala from different angles, launching an attack on the huge truck. The situation that originally belonged to the huge truck has suddenly turned around. Christmas koala showed a frightened expression and instinctively wanted to retreat, but Chestnut Ball from behind had already swung his small fist and attacked. Pop, pop, pop. 3 minutes later, the Christmas koala, which had successfully dealt with nearly 10 chestnut balls, still couldn't withstand it. Although its attacking power was strong, its defensive power was far less than its attacking power, only 800 points. In this situation, even if the chestnut ball derivative only has 300 attack points, with a large number and a huge truck equipped with 1,200 attack points, the outnumbered Christmas koala ultimately cannot escape its shattered fate. Without the shelter of the Christmas koala, the soul barrier of the student dueler quickly shattered and returned to zero under the siege of a huge truck and a crowd of chestnut balls. The student dueler fell into a long silence, unsure of what to say. He couldn't figure out why chestnuts could split into that quantity. Well, okay, you won, brother. Can you? When the student dueler regained consciousness and lifted his head, he was about to inquire about the mystery behind Lin Yu's chestnut ball, but found that Lin Yu had slipped somewhere and disappeared without a trace. Outside the duel hall, in front of an empty and cool tree, Yu reads a book. www.yuyukiangshu.net. Lin Yu took several deep breaths in order to calm the turmoil in his heart, not just because of the victory he had just won and the divine effect of proliferation. More importantly, just as he won the duel just now, a row of brown subtitles appeared before his eyes. The achievement of First Battle Victory has been achieved, with beginner card draw times increasing by 1. Tip. Dueling players can activate the card wheel at any time. This wheel is only visible to the dueling players. After seeing these 2 lines of subtitles for a moment, Lin Yu realized that it was the late Golden Finger who finally went online. Even though he knew that this Golden Finger was only visible to him, for safety reasons, he still ran out to avoid causing trouble. Hiding in front of a big tree, Lin Yu looked around and confirmed safety before attempting to activate the roulette wheel with his mind. Click. As if a shackle had been opened, a crisp sound sounded, and at the same time, a large brown wheel appeared. The wheel was divided into 20 squares, but this was only a superficial division, and the actual number of squares is unknown. In each grid, a card is quietly placed and presented on the back, making it impossible to know the specific content of each card. That is to say, random selection. Lin Yu immediately understood the trick without leaving any ink on it. He tried to touch the big red button in the center of the roulette with his mind, which read, Beginner, indicating that it was a beginner card roulette. Click, click, click. The wheel suddenly began to rotate rhythmically, with a faint blue cursor rotating. After 20 seconds of rotation, it froze on one of the squares. Lin Yu's gaze immediately focused on the card, which would be the first card he drew through the card roulette. Chapter 7. Magic Crystal. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The card slowly flipped from the back to the front, then accelerated and enlarged in front of Lin Yu. Illusionary Beast King Gazelle, Star Rating. White Attribute. Ground Race. Beast Race Attack Power. 1500, Defense Power. 1200 Introduction. A wild beast that runs too fast and appears to have a phantom figure. On the surface of the card, there is a scene depicting a creature resembling a half-lion, running and jumping high in the forest under the moonlight. Its ferocious face and claws seem to tear open the silent darkness. This card still belongs to the whiteboard without any special effects, but it already meets Lin Yu's psychological expectations. From an attribute perspective, 1,500 points of attack power is already quite impressive in white star cards, let alone defense power. Coupled with the speed described in the introduction, it can be foreseen that this card's comprehensive combat power will be very strong. The Phantom Beast King. Lin You is certainly familiar with the cards used in the Dueling King Wooden game in Game King. At this moment, there is an inexplicable sense of familiarity when he draws them. After confirming the card, Lin You turned around and put it into the duel glove, while at the same time, a slight gasping sound came from behind after running at high speed. "Ha, Lin You, I'm gone, why did you suddenly collapse and sell out?" Lu Jun's face collapsed and he looked extremely depressed. "Hey, don't mention it. My head suddenly felt a bit dizzy and I almost couldn't resist it. I had to run out urgently to get some air." Lin You casually spread rumors. "Ah, no problem, right. Do you want to go to the hospital and have a look? It's not a big deal. I've almost recovered, but it's you. Hurry up and go back to the duel. I'll rest for a few hours and I should be completely fine." Lin You remembered about the duel hall, and it was quite rare to make an appointment. He had already trained quite well and had consumed a lot of magic in his body. It was a pity for Lu Jun to waste this opportunity. "Well, that's okay, you pay attention to it yourself. Be careful too, don't be abused by others as a dish." "I vomited, Lin You. Please speak up as a person." Lu Jun was once again depressed, and finally confirmed the condition of Lin You. It seemed that he was really okay, so he ran back to the dueling hall. If he came out and waited too long, the security guard wouldn't let him go. Lin You stopped a taxi at the entrance, but did not intend to go home. Instead, he planned to go to Jiangbei Mall. According to the reliable information provided by Dunyan, Jiangbei Mall is one of the most well-known dueling mall in the entire Jiangcheng, selling a large number of products related to dueling. The main theme of the product is naturally cards, but areas will be divided based on formal and informal duelers. Starting from the second floor, the mall is a place where only duelers are qualified to set foot. The cards sold are also of higher quality, and there are specialized card commission sales, card exchange services, and so on. In this world, although online shopping still exists, the country has explicitly prohibited the trading of cards online. After all, the internet is a place where good and bad are mixed, which is convenient, but it is easy for people to take advantage of loopholes. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, the country has specially issued relevant policies. Not only online shopping, but even offline shopping, only stores or malls with card sales qualifications are allowed to sell cards. At this moment, Lin You suddenly planned to go to the Jiangbei Mall because he had just received a large transfer from his father, amounting to 100,000 yuan. "Son, hurry up after graduation and put in more effort." The accompanying content is as simple as ever. Lin Yu's father is a businessman, and his business is not very big. At best, he is a small boss. He is usually busy, but more often than not, he is still indulging in extravagance and drinking. Lin You was aware of this in his heart, but he never felt lonely and lost because of it. Instead, he enjoyed it. The world without anyone to control was free and happy for him. Lin's father also knows that his son dreams of becoming a duel fighter, and his attitude towards it is very casual, not more than asking questions. However, if Lin You has any related needs, he will try his best to satisfy them. For example, that pair of duel gloves worth 100,000 yuan, and now. The path of growth for duelers, aside from hard work and talent, is equally essential to spend money. At this stage, Lin You urgently needs magic supplements such as magic liquid and even magic crystals to accelerate the refining of his own magic. He can reach a height of 115 points of magic, which is probably due to the help of these expensive supplements. Although the effect of magic absorption varies depending on each individual's physical condition, magic supplements are definitely useful, and as long as they are not overused, they will not have any side effects. Jiangbei Mall is not far from Dueling Hall and is located in this area of Jiangcheng North District. Therefore, in less than 10 minutes, a taxi stopped at the entrance of the mall. Jiangbei Mall is located on the golden section of the Jiangcheng Commercial District. Although it is only 7 floors high, it looks quite imposing. To enter the mall, you need to first pass through a large square. As it is a weekend, even before noon, the circular chairs around the fountain in the center of the square are still filled with people. Through the revolving door, Lin You walked into the first floor of the mall. As soon as he entered, he could immediately feel the unique atmosphere belonging to the world of duels. Promotional screens with images of dueling monsters can be seen everywhere on the floor, or else there are overwhelming posters placed on shelves or in exquisite storage boxes, with a dazzling array of various cards that are overwhelming. However, compared to the cards sold in schools, the quality of the cards here is not outstanding. Most of them are whiteboard cards with average data and are more expensive. This situation was also expected by Lin You, otherwise those people in the school wouldn't have been surprised by the new batch of cards. Lin You did not intend to purchase a card here, but rather planned to buy a small piece of magic crystal. Depending on the quality, the price of a small piece of magic crystal ranges from 80,000 to 100,000 yuan. The price is indeed high, but the effect is also significant. After the dueler absorbs the energy completely, even if their qualifications are average, they can smoothly increase their magic by about 5 points. The most important thing Lin You wants to do now is not to enhance his magic to meet the application standards of Jiangcheng University. What he wants is to explore more possibilities for card roulette. Based on today's drawing experience, in order to draw more cards, it may be necessary for him to achieve various corresponding achievements. For example, achieving victory in a duel for the first time is the achievement of winning the first battle. It is worth mentioning that Lin You obviously cannot win the duel for the first time, nor will it be his first time going to the duel hall. But the standard for unlocking this achievement is based on Lin Yu's journey through the forest. In other words, if you buy a magic crystal and absorb it, it is also possible to achieve an achievement similar to using magic supplements for the first time. Even if it doesn't work out, relying on magic crystals to enhance magic is still crucial. In this world, dueling is not as easy as imagined, and the magician's magic is the cornerstone of everything. If there is not enough magic, even if he draws a card that goes against the sky, it will still be in vain. With this idea in mind, Lin You found a shop specializing in selling magic supplements and stepped into it. Chapter 8. Maze Challenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hello handsome guy, are you planning to see some magic supplements? We just launched a new cost-effective magic supplement. Do you need me to introduce it to you? As soon as she walked into the shop, a saleswoman wearing beautiful and light makeup walked towards her with a sweet smile. It is worth mentioning that the handsome man mentioned by Miss is not a compliment. With Lin Yu's appearance, she can achieve 90% of the so-called handsome man without special attire. Don't bother, I want to buy a magic crystal at a reasonable price. Lin You waved his hand and casually said. Upon hearing the 4 words magic crystal, the saleswoman's eyes lit up and she quickly said. Magic crystals. Handsome guy, you've come to the right place. Our magic crystals are all of high quality, especially suitable for absorption. No matter what kind of magic absorption physique they have a considerable advantage in energy residual rate compared to other brands. Magic crystals are relatively luxurious items in magic supplements. Even if you sell the cheapest magic crystal, this young lady can get a lot of commission. Okay, could you please help me get a piece of reliable quality? Lin You is not a magic crystal appraiser, and can only measure the corresponding quality by price. It can be said that any product sold by nationally certified shops rarely has problems, and major problems are almost impossible to encounter. Not to mention large shopping malls like Jiangbei Mall, the credibility of the shops distributed among them goes without saying. Handsome guy, this magic crystal has just been brought out of a low-risk secret realm recently. It has excellent quality and is easier to absorb. It is the top-of-the-line magic crystals, originally priced at 100,000 yuan, but now you can get a discount of 2,000 yuan by purchasing it. You can get it for 98,000 yuan. The saleswoman introduced her with a smile on her face and didn't forget to add. This is also because considering that major dual universities will soon launch a new round of enrollment exams, providing benefits for the vast number of soon-to-graduate dual science students. Lin Yu's gaze fell on a beautifully shaped and small box handed over by the other party. The box was transparent, surrounded by dry ice like white matter, and the magic crystals placed inside were like ice cubes being refrigerated. Anyway, the magical crystal, which was only about the size of a ping-pong ball, still emitted a seductive and strange purple light. Just looking through the box, Lin You could feel a unique magical aura. Magic crystal is indeed a good thing. Lin You nodded in his heart and gave an evaluation. Okay, that's all I need. I feel that this magical crystal is good, and Lin You is too lazy to continue selecting. He took out his phone and scanned the QR code handed over by the salesperson Mississippi. Thank you. Lin You, who was checking out and making payment, took the magic crystal that the salesperson had helped to package. He simply raised his hand and said thank you, then walked out of the store with a cheerful, "You're welcome, next time," and watched. Carrying a shopping bag in his hand, Lin You felt a bit regretful. Buying magic supplements has not unlocked the relevant card draw achievements, so it may be difficult to absorb magic crystals. Fortunately, Lin You didn't expect it too much, and it was just an attempt to unlock it. Pack up his mood, Lin You didn't rush to leave Jiangcheng Mall. Although he didn't have much money left on him, who said that shopping in the mall means spending money? The world has evolved into today's card world, and it is obvious that Lin You cannot only understand it through various exaggerated film and television works. To gain a deeper understanding, one must also experience it firsthand. With the idea of exploration and discovery, Lin You began to wander around the first floor of the mall. If possible, he really wanted to go to the second floor to see what strength the cards used by ordinary duels had reached. Walking and stopping it will quickly prove that Lin Yu's choice was right. When passing by a large store, Lin You stopped not only because of the size of the store, but also because it seemed to be carrying out some interesting activities. Many people were gathered here, which made him curious and showed considerable interest. There are several promotional signs placed at the entrance of the store, mostly related to the event. However, due to the crowded crowd at the entrance, it is not possible to fully see the content on the signs. However, the merchant clearly also considered this issue and installed a large promotional screen slightly higher. Lin You quickly noticed the promotional screen and looked up. Explore the maze treasure, if you dare, come. The first thing that catches the eye is the activity title that has been bolded and highlighted in red. Just seeing this title, Lin You couldn't help but read the remaining activity content with great interest. After a while, he completely understood what kind of activity was being carried out here. Simply put, the merchant hides 10 keys in 3 levels of gold, silver, and copper in a treasure hunt created based on the field magic card maze. The area of the maze is not too large, and it is within the effective range of a dual connection between non-duelers and their own monster cards. However, the routes inside the maze can be complex and intricate, making it easy for people with poor directional sense to get lost. Of course, the challenger themselves cannot participate in this activity. Instead, after paying a 500 yuan challenge fee, they will send any monster card for a 5-minute exploration. Any keys found during this period can be exchanged for corresponding prizes from the merchant. According to the merchant's explanation, each key carries a corresponding magical aura, and the lower the key level, the stronger the aura. Conversely, the magical aura carried by the only golden key can be almost negligible. As is well known, any monster card has a natural sensitivity to magical aura, but the level of sensitivity varies and the signs of performance are not clear. Based on this, many people are willing to give their cards a try, after all, the challenge cost is not too expensive. However, the merchant also has special regulations that each wrestler's monster card can only be challenged once, and the key can only be found once. In addition, it is not allowed for duelers who meet the complete dueler standard to participate in the challenge. According to the event notification, Lin You learned that the event has been going on for over 2 hours, but currently only 2 copper keys have been found, indicating the difficulty of the challenge. Yu reading www.yuukiangshu.net, but correspondingly, the rewards for successful challenges are also very generous. Each copper key can be exchanged for a bottle of magic liquid worth 10,000 yuan. As for the golden key, coincidentally, the corresponding prize is precisely the magic crystal that Lin You just bought. A magic crystal worth a whopping 100,000 yuan is a big deal. Lin You has a stronger interest, and he doesn't care about the challenge fee of just 500 yuan. Thinking of this, Lin You quickly squeezed into the crowd, scanned the challenge QR code on the billboard, paid a challenge fee of 500 yuan, and was informed that he was currently ranked 17th in the queue, not too far behind. According to the 5-minute challenge mode, wait for about an hour and a half before it's his turn. During the waiting period, Lin You can also observe each challenge on site through the large blue light LCD screen prepared by the merchants. At this moment, on the screen, a cute and handsome young dragon, all orange in color, is clumsily flapping its wings and flying around in a complex maze. Lin You recognized that this monster was a precious dragon. The baby dragon flew through an aisle, and when it reached the end, it knocked open a gray light door. When it opened, what caught the eye was a dead end. In the corner of the dead end, a gray light ball was violently fluctuating, emitting an extremely fierce magical aura. This thing is a trap set up by merchants, with a magical aura far exceeding that of 3 types of keys, which has great attraction to monster cards. Their challengers at this stage can only drive monster cards at the duel level at most, and not at the powerful duel level. In this case, their intelligence is relatively lacking, making it difficult to distinguish such detailed explorations. Hey! The dueler of Baobailing also sighed somewhat regretfully. Time had passed, and 500 yuan was just floating in the water. Chapter 9. Fake Girl Letty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, I failed again, this challenge is too difficult. There's no way, those light clusters are too inducing, easily distract the monster's attention. The 2 duelers who found the copper key before were ruthless. More than an hour has passed, and the maze challenge has not made any progress compared to before. The number of keys remains the same, and the challenge is even more difficult than people imagine. Some even start to doubt whether the 2 people who successfully challenged before are dog toys. But on second thought, in order to save just 500 yuan, the store owner wouldn't ruin their reputation. This store has some background, and the manager in charge of managing it is a genuine Samsung fighter. Although no one has been able to challenge successfully for a long time, the popularity of this activity has not decreased as a result. The onlookers come and go, and the challengers are also one after another. Now, with one more person, it is Lin Yu's turn to take the challenge. After the 15th challenger stepped down, the 16th challenger had already walked to the challenge and witnessed so many failed challenge cases with his own eyes. However, his face still wore a confident smile, which exuded a sunny and gentle feeling. Okay, let's wait and see. Mr. Xia's challenge is about to begin, said the challenge host. As the words fell, the challenger immediately activated his magic, flipped the card, and the summoned light surged. The woman who appeared was a petite figure with delicate curves, and her graceful figure was vividly outlined by her light and thin black-fitting clothes. A fluffy yellow skirt perfectly restrained a bit of sexiness. From the wand with the sun wheel at the top in her hand, it can be seen that this is a monster of the Zhang mage clan. Through the analysis of the venue, the onlookers can tell that this card is called Fake Girl Letty. Monsters of the wizarding race are often more sensitive to magic, so it is wise to choose to summon monsters of the wizarding race to challenge them. Through the challenge screen, in full view of everyone, Letty entered the challenge maze. The first thing Lin You paid attention to was the distribution of several keys in the maze. During the challenge, the keys in the maze will be specially marked to enhance the viewing experience. However, each time the challenge occurs, the position of the key will be reset. In addition, the location of each challenger entering the maze is random, so the event organizer does not have to worry about the challenger knowing the location of the key in advance and targeting it. Lin You raised his eyebrows slightly, and through the screen, he could clearly see that Letty had landed in a very good position, surrounded by 3 keys, 2 copper, and 1 silver. But at the same time, there are also a considerable number of interfering light clusters, which are also 3. If Letty fails to resist the induction, the probability of obtaining the key will be very low. As everyone's gaze focused, Letty hesitated for a moment before suddenly taking a step in a certain direction. Seeing this, the audience thought to themselves, unfortunately, that location is exactly where an interfering light cluster is located. Sure enough, the difficulty of this challenge is too great. Even for the mage clan, without reaching home in cultivation, it is impossible to distinguish right from wrong. Lin You also feels a bit regretful. If this situation continues, he may not be able to witness someone successfully achieve the challenge with his own eyes. As for himself, he has great confidence in Chestnut Ball. From his spiritual performance, even if he cannot lock the positions of those keys, he cannot be fooled by those interfering light balls. Excluding the interference caused by the light cluster, as long as you are a little lucky, Chestnut Ball will definitely get a key. Just thinking of this, the sudden changes on the screen caught Lin Yu's attention in an instant. Letty, who was originally heading in the wrong direction, suddenly stopped and was bathed in a layer of pale golden light. After a few seconds of shining light, her eyes became noticeably clear. This is special effects. Lin You quickly recognized that he had also watched many card-themed movies and knew that monster cards usually produce corresponding forms of expression when activating special effects. The radiance bathed in Letty's body was her manifestation when she activated a special effect, and after successfully activating this special effect, Letty closed her eyes tightly, seemingly sensing something. After a moment, Letty, who opened her eyes again, decisively gave up her original path and headed towards another direction, which was undoubtedly the location of a silver key. Seeing this, the audience's eyes widened one after another, can't they say? On the screen, Letty bypassed the maze corridors one by one, and as she approached the silver key, her movements became slower and slower. After closing her eyes to confirm for a long time, she finally started again. In fact, she should have already sensed the location of another copper key that was extremely close to her, but she did not waste time, but rushed towards the already locked goal. In the end, when the challenge time reached 4 minutes and 40 seconds, Letty waved her wand and pushed open the light door in front of her, finding the silver key behind the door with a silver halo. Challenge successful. Wow, amazing! Did you find this special silver key? I suddenly had the motivation to challenge again. Forget it, you're amazing. Instead of being a philanthropist, why don't you keep your 500 yuan and invite me to Zhongguan Street to have some skewers someday? He looks good when he smiles, I love this little brother. Brother, that's great. After nearly an hour and a half, there finally appeared a successful challenger who successfully took the silver key, causing quite a stir in the crowd. However, the boy who successfully completed the challenge and shone brightly at UU reading www.uukiangshu.net still wore a warm smile like a spring breeze on his face, which did not inflate. Instead, he was a bit humble and low-key. Brother, it's okay. It's a good start. Xia Mu was laughing as someone suddenly patted her shoulder, causing him to be slightly stunned. The sound that followed made him turn his head, and what caught his eye was a very handsome face. Thank you, you also have to work hard. Although he didn't know what the situation was, he politely nodded and expressed his blessings. Don't worry, maybe that golden key will run into my pocket later. No, it should be said to be a magic crystal, that's a hint. Lin You smiled politely and picked up the packaging bag containing magic crystals in his handle. After saying these words, Lin You walked up to the challenge without looking at the other person's reaction. Wow, he's a handsome guy again, he's still an epic. I'm too happy today, right? Really, brother, come on, come on. Lin Yu's appearance also caused some sensation in the crowd, but only for girls, relying on appearance. Although it is a world of cards, no matter where you are, you often cannot escape the factor of looking at your face. Strong and handsome duelers often attract countless fans. Xiaomu also looked at Lin Yu with a hint of curiosity. He was not attracted by Lin Yu's appearance, but rather quite concerned about what he had just said, as he was about to leave after winning the prize. That remark didn't seem like a simple joke or boasting. Xiaomu is looking forward to what kind of cards Lin Yu will present for this challenge. Soon, the answer was revealed. Cooley Chestnut Ball made a brilliant appearance amidst the shouts of the girls covering their faces. Chapter 10. Tianxiu Chestnut Ball. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. That monster Xiaomu stared at the chestnut ball floating in the low sky, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. For some reason, he instinctively felt that the card was not simple, as if it had intelligence that did not meet this stage. Chestnut Ball slowly flew into the maze and quickly launched a challenge, and as soon as it entered the maze, Lin Yu felt happy in his heart. Without him, the location where the little one descended was not too far from the highly anticipated golden key. Throwing away the golden key, there were also several copper keys around, making it a gathering place for keys. Of course, there are also unlucky ones. Around the chestnut ball, there are 7 or 8 interfering light clusters distributed. If these light clusters were used as regular cards, they would probably attract attention every minute. As for Chestnut Ball, it also witnessed other card challenges with its own eyes just now, and with its intelligence, it wouldn't have been so obviously fooled. Lin Yu is now hoping that Chestnut Ball will have some good luck. Besides, encountering a copper key is not a waste of his trip. Cooley Chestnut Ball, who was in the maze, blinked and stopped in mid-air for a moment before flying towards the target without any hesitation, as if discovering something. At first glance, Chestnut Ball immediately decided to be tempted, and the audience also exclaimed in surprise. However, from its flight trajectory, it seemed to be also attracted by the interfering light cluster. But it cannot be determined. The reason for saying this is because the direction the chestnut ball is flying towards, aside from the interference light cluster, there is a possibility of finding the only golden key. Although no one believes that Chestnut Ball has successfully captured the magical aura of the golden key, it is still inevitable to hold your breath. Is it possible? Under such a tension, Chestnut Ball quickly flew and successfully bypassed several aisles, getting closer and closer to the target. In front of it was a light gate, and behind it was an interfering light cluster. Without hesitation, Chestnut Ball rushed into the light gate. Seeing this scene, many people let out a sigh, but there were also a few who still stared at its movements. In this area, there are not only interfering light clusters, but also chestnut balls that are not far from the golden key. The interference light cluster only plays an interfering role, and it does not mean that encountering the interference light cluster will result in a failed challenge. Not long after Chestnut Ball flew into the light gate, Xiaomu, who had been paying attention to it for a long time, was even more surprised. He could see that Chestnut Ball's flight did not hesitate at all, and it was the same after breaking into the light gate. This performance indicates that it did not come here due to being pulled by interfering light clusters. Chestnut Ball also verified this point with facts. After breaking into the light gate for a moment, Chestnut Ball continued to move towards the corridor connected to the right, flying over an S-bend. In front of it were 3 light gates, 2 of which led to the other direction, and 1 was a dead end. The Chestnut Ball still didn't hesitate and drifted directly into the light gate where the dead end was located. Wow! Upon seeing this, a sudden uproar erupted from the audience. What the chestnut ball flew into was exactly where the only golden key was located. In front of everyone, the chestnut ball on the screen burst into the light gate and picked up the golden key placed in the dead end, shining with a faint golden glow. No, isn't it? 666, 6666, what are you doing with 6? Hold on. I really found it. Is this monster a fairy? How did you perceive it? So many interfering light clusters don't work on it, isn't this also a dog toy? Either it's a dog toy or it's open, this must be at least a top-level cheat from 1982. Great, little cutie, I really want to give it a kiss. Wow. The commotion caused on site naturally could not affect Chestnut Ball in the challenge. After finding the golden key, Chestnut Ball did not stop moving, but instead accelerated his flight and flew in another direction. After a while, when Chestnut Ball appeared in the hiding place of a copper key, the scene was detonated again. This time, everyone was certain that Chestnut Ball's ability to find the golden key was not luck, but rather it truly captured the faint magical aura on the surface of the golden key. Of course, there are also some people who insist that Chestnut Ball is a monster sent by Guchuo and know the distribution points of all keys in advance, but because no evidence can be found, there is no way to say much about it. With 1 gold and 1 bronze, even Lin You was a bit stunned as he easily achieved such a result with a chestnut ball. The performance of Chestnut Ball exceeded his imagination. But turning his head, Lin You felt great joy in his heart. Nice, ah. This wave is a big prize. Coolly after completing the challenge, Chestnut Ball turned back from the maze. Lin You strode forward with a meteor and joyfully touched Chestnut Ball's small head. Coolly, ******, Chestnut Ball's face showed an expression of enjoyment and happiness. Young man, that's great. Your card should have been trained to duel level long ago, right? The store manager walked over with an appreciative expression, glanced at Chestnut Ball, and then smiled at Lin You, handing over the prize of this time. A high-quality magic crystal and a bottle of magic liquid. You flattered me, I'll take these. Thank you very much. Lin You didn't explain too much, but he wasn't quite sure about what the chestnut ball was like and what level it should be defined at, but what he could be certain of was that it definitely met the dual level standards of this world. After a few polite words with the store manager, Lin You, who had returned with a full load, was in a great mood. After going out, he directly took 2 top-notch magic crystals and a good bottle of magic liquid, and his life was complete. Your card is very impressive. Just as Lin You stepped out of the crowd, a gentle voice came from beside him. Xia Mu, who had been waiting here, walked over and extended her palm, revealing her signature warm smile. My name is Xia Mu, and I have seen everything I did just now. It's very beautiful. Lin You. Lin You simply shook hands with the other person, rarely encountering a polite person. This quality is much stronger than that of Nyo's son. As expected, you should be the awakener of the origin card, Xia Mu suddenly said. Source card Yu reading www.yuyukiangshu.net. Upon hearing this term, Lin You only hesitated for a moment and then remembered the definition. In today's world, there are extremely few people who can awaken their own exclusive cards from within their innate bodies. These cards often have low or even zero consumption, as well as extremely high affinity and spirituality. This is the so-called origin card, which belongs to the existence that is hard to find for thousands of miles. Perhaps. Lin You is not sure whether Chestnut Ball meets the definition of the origin card, but one thing is that Chestnut Ball was indeed owned by him from the beginning, rather than being drawn through the card roulette. In addition, the Chestnut Ball exhibits an extraordinary uniqueness, and the most intuitive point is its intelligence. Lin You can affirm that it can read all of its own words. Lin Yu's ambiguous answer was not what Xia Mu expected, and he did not intend to investigate to the end. Everyone has their own secrets, especially the dueler. Judging from your appearance, you should also be a graduate of a university that is about to face a duel, right? Xia Mu took the initiative to shift the topic. So you too? Lin Yu nodded. I hope to see you at Jiangcheng University. I have a premonition that you will become a great fighter, Xia Mu smiled. Cough. I think so too. Lin Yu felt a bit awkward inexplicably. As he had been dealing with a group of Zuan people all year round, he occasionally encountered someone like Xia Mu who was a talented person, and it was indeed a bit difficult for him to adapt to the other person's way of speaking. Goodbye then, good luck to you. Xia Mu politely waved her hand and dropped the last sentence. Not long after he left, Lin Yu also moved, and today's results were fruitful, and it was time to retreat.